Hello, welcome to the Tabletop Gaming Guild. I am Nathan Wilson, and today we'll be looking at The Crew. The Crew is a simple trick-taking game with a deceptively large rulebook. While the rules are very simple, the rulebook also contains a logbook that goes through the different scenarios in a campaign. These scenarios start off fairly simple and progress until they get relatively challenging. Each scenario goes on average 5 to 10 minutes, with a max of about 15. The Crew comes with 2 decks of cards. The basic deck of cards contains 4 suits, going from 1 to 9. So you've got green, blue, yellow, and pink, as well as 1 trump suit that goes 1 through 4. Here's a trick to this game though. It's a cooperative game. As per a standard trick-taking game, you deal out all the cards, and one at a time people will be laying cards until each person has laid a card, and the person with the highest card wins the trick. But the twist that makes that difficult is each scenario you're going to have a certain number of these challenge cards. Before you start the game, you have to figure out who's the leader, which is determined by the person holding the 4 of trump. And in turn order, starting with the captain, take one of these challenges to say, I am going to make sure I'm the one that takes this trick that contains this card. If at any point, anybody other than the person accepting this challenge wins a trick containing that card, everyone immediately loses. However, as soon as the last challenge is completed, everybody wins. There's one extra challenge they throw in here, and that is you cannot communicate normally. You have one method of communication that can be done once per hand. That is simply placing down a card and placing one of these communication tokens on it. If you put it on the bottom, that shows it's your lowest in that suit. If you put it in the middle, that shows it's your only one in that suit. If you put it on the top, that shows it's your highest in that suit. Beyond that, you're not allowed to communicate anything in your hand in any other manner. So as you complete each scenario, you would then go into your logbook and mark how many attempts it took to complete that scenario. If you're really getting stuck, you have a distress signal that you can use to trade cards in your hand. However, once that is used, it counts as 1 extra failed attempt. The game also contains a marker to keep track of who is the current captain, enough communication tokens for each player, cards to put in your hand to keep track of the card you currently have down to communicate. Otherwise, it's very easy to forget, oh, this card on the table is still technically in my hand. And it also contains various tokens that add extra challenges to the game. I won't cover what each of these do because that would spoil various scenarios. So let's keep those secret. There are a lot of little tricks that this game throws at you to make the game more complicated as you go, and some of them are extremely clever. So that is the game The Crew. This is deceptively simple. I initially had gone into this game thinking, cooperative trick-taking game? How could that possibly work? However, while the game itself is simple, getting 4 people around the table to play this game is exciting, it's interesting. Even though you're technically not allowed to communicate, it's hard to resist the urge to grunt when somebody does something foolish, or sigh when somebody does something really playing well into your hand. Those small reactions add a lot to this game, and because of that, this is one of my favorite games of all time. The speed of each campaign means if you fail, it's not a big deal just to play it again. You can easily play a dozen scenarios in a single day. I also initially had thought that the scenarios would not change up very much, but the little tweaks they do in each scenario have a major effect and are quite entertaining.